Celebrity Deathmatch.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special episode of Into the Weeds. We have a battleground session, and I will be your guest host, Gregory Allen Troutman. Now, coming in one corner, the conservative of the group, the breaker of regulations, the freer of fossil fuels, the doctor of democracy, Craig, the green bastard, Trump! He's clapping for himself. He doesn't even have anything to go with it. And now, in the other corner, we have the Lord Commander of Nature's Watch.
There it is.
The people's champ of public transportation and the liberator of land, Alec Smokey Italiano.
Woo! And he was responsible for that last cutout there.
He will be representing the Democratic side in this episode called Frackheads. Now, since we do have a president now who has opened up drilling basically anywhere where you could stick power tools in.
Yes.
We're dealing with the repercussions now. I believe Alec brought up earlier out there in the Loyohana.
Oh, yeah.
We have
a nice
what's this thing called? Slurge or
Slurry.
Slurry.
Yeah, there's a good local story here.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally guising up from the ground. We have this slurry coming in a recreational area. This is where people are boating. There's a beach.
What does it look like? What's the slurry?
It dries like concrete. And
the slurry is the mixture that they put in the hole.
Yes.
Up on the surface. When they mix it together on the blender, it's when the sand and all the chemicals in the water come together before going through the pumps, pressurized down the hole into the
and every drill site has its own slurry, ingredients.
Can you see it on the beach?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it came all the way down the hill. See, here's the thing, is it's hard to visualize. I'm going to try to do my best to visualize the scene for you. Is up high on the hill, you have the bathrooms and you have the campsites. And that's where it was above the bathrooms where the slurry came out of the ground. And then it just came down the hills. It got into the bathrooms. It dried like concrete and then went all the way down into the lake. And they had to, put this net out into the lake to try to contain it and, do all of these measures in order to not make it too bad. And I get, the argument that Craig's...
skeptical,
the argument that Craig's going to make...
to describe his face. He's looking at this guy, fake news Italiano.
The only way to... His argument's going to be oh, it's not enough to dilute the water. It's not actually poisonous. But, see, my point is... To that, you don't even have to talk. I'm just going to make your arguments for you.
No, that's not right, because I believe he was talking about the fish are getting bigger.
Yeah, I didn't understand the fish getting bigger.
No, I was just
earlier you brought up
when I worked on
increased aqua size of animals.
When I worked on an EQT location, the sand and the frack water would overflow. Just you get spills, but it's all in containment, so it doesn't get into the environment or whatever you hippies are worried about.
Yes.
Hippies.
That's what I am, guys. I'm the
day.
hippie of the conversation.
When I would see beetles and other animals crawling through the stuff and drinking it, like deer coming out.
Oh, so this is personal. You've just seen...
Well, I've seen them get huge.
On the hippie over
How do you know? So you've just been walking around looking at beetles, and you notice that the beetles grew in size.
And they're
okay, see, I don't even have to make an argument against that because Craig, I had never heard anything about the animals getting bigger. That's I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Maybe if people aren't fishing there as much because they don't want to go there where all this slurry coming out of the ground and then they're not fishing, so the fish grow bigger. Maybe I could. I
already won't go into Loyohana because it's disgusting.
But the fish aren't going to die.
Greg already doesn't like going there because
muddy. I call it old muddy water.
Yeah. So how are we going to try to get more people to go?
Now there's slurry.
And I'm not saying it's big money or anything, but it's just how come we can't have nice things? Because we got to do drilling in the middle of a freaking goddamn.
They're gonna clean it up. I would say it's a problem if they don't clean it up.
How many people have to get cancer from having their kids swimming contaminated
water? Is anybody going to go back to Chernobyl?
Are you going to make that same argument against all of our food?
GMOs? I could.
We can go down.
No, we're not going.
This is so rare of an occurrence.
Okay, Alec, how do you think this should be handled?
All I'm saying is, I get that the industry needs to happen. That's not the argument anymore. That was the argument probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. Was do we want to even frack at all? Okay, obviously we moved past that question to say yes. Not only on a foreign policy argument, but and Craig is going to make this argument again. We are literally sitting on a gold mine. So for Pennsylvania to be in need of money,
like a
resources,
gold mine. It's like a silver, like a knockoff silver.
it's like a
mine.
never-ending.
Dude, it is
It's like a
big
never-ending gas supply. It's
20
really
to
what it
never
is.
ending is in 20 to 30 years.
But it
We
does,
haven't even tapped into the one shell.
Yeah, and then sinkholes start popping up in your house.
Yeah,
Your
well, they've been
duplex
fracking-
that you own
they've
just
been-
sinks into the
They've
ground
been
because
fracking
it's
this
sucked out there.
location here. How many sinkholes are we seeing?
Yeah, but see, this
True.
is different.
How often
though.
is this
This
stuff
is
going
on?
different, Craig. I mean, you're going horizontal. You're going in like a dozen different
And
directions.
they've been
from,
doing it for
from
a
one.
while.
One of the
Horizontal,
highlights-
This isn't
not as
new.
much. Horizontal, not as much. I mean, they're going 13 miles in a direction.
One of the reason-
Earthquakes are a real
Ex-
problem
yes.
in Ohio.
Yes.
Right now, like,
And we don't have it because the Marcellus Shale is a solid bedrock. That's why we don't have earthquakes in Pennsylvania. It's because we have one solid. I believe it's a tectonic
Sheet.
plate.
It's like a sheet.
The shale.
Yeah.
The reason it's called Marcellus is that's
And
the,
the
county
seam-
in New York.
The seam is precariously just over the Pennsylvania border, right? Going toward Ohio. So Pennsylvania is in the like a better position, I guess you could say, and it's not as shallow because there's a difference between wet and dry gas that you're able to, I want to say harvest. That's not really harvest, isn't the word, but like drill for. And I believe it's the dry gas is what you're after for more, and that's where we are in Pennsylvania. Whereas you have a wetter gas into the Ohio areas, and that's why it hasn't been fracked as much. But the point is, there's side effects. I mean, not only do you have the earthquakes in places that you've never had earthquakes before, mind you. So you have buildings not built for it. You have a population that just doesn't really know what to do when there's an earthquake. Like I wouldn't know what to do if there's an earthquake. People in California understand what to
You
do
go
because
underneath
they've been
your desk.
living in it.
Just going to
I guess, but it's like my house could fall. We have basements. Like I don't know. Like things happen. You know, like foundations shift. Like it's
But we don't have earthquakes yet.
not yet. Ohio
The
does.
largest
Ohio
earthquake
does. Ohio
in-
does.
In Ohio's history happened in 1986.
It's just that they just had. There's been like a series of them
Saying
for the
the
last
biggest
10
one they
years.
had. It was a 5.0. That was in 1986 before horizontal drilling.
Okay. I'm not saying
What
that.
if they did a different type of drilling
I'm not
that
saying
was
that
even worse?
But straight
I don't
down-
know. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Well,
What-
they've been fracking for over 100 years. It's just
No, they knew they could frack
No,
100
they
years
were.
ago.
They-
They didn't start because they didn't have
they-
the technology
yes,
to do
they
so
did.
Technology-
50 years.
I know people
This is-
personally who fracked
Right.
when they first started out when they
and
were
this
in their
is a
20s.
common-
During the Great Depression, you're saying.
This is a common
Yes.
response from the industry. This is a common response from
They-
the industry that they've been fracking since forever.
The
Okay.
shallow wells, they fracked it.
The shallow. It's a completely different process, though.
This
and you
is just
have
on
to
a
admit
bigger
it.
scale, but it's the same.
Not
basic-
necessarily. You're going in more different directions, and you're pumping more of the water.
All
into
it is you've
And that's-
extended the pipe and curved it.
No,
well, essentially,
you've curved the pipe, which
Curved
causes
it.
problems.
Where?
Causes problems.
Where?
It cracks the pipes more easily. And, I mean, this is like a
There's
severe.
no pipe down that low. It's just a hole.
It's
They
a-
just drilled a hole.
They drill a
and
hole
they run
down
the,
there,
they
and
run the fluid
and they
down there.
crack the.
There's nothing
the
to
shale.
crack. It's just the ground.
They literally have to put holes.
Yes,
like
that's
they
how
put
you do it.
fissures.
That's
I
how-
know. So they're cracking the land 5,000 feet down.
Fractures, really tiny fractures.
But it's
And then
like
they're putting
it's
sand
like
in
a
there.
ripple in a pond, though. You
But
do
then
it that
they
far down
push
with that
sand
much
in.
pressure, and it causes bigger problems. And then fissures open up all the way up into the surface area, into people's drinking walls,
It hasn't happened.
into drinking
hasn't
wells.
happened yet, though.
I mean, it is happening. It's
But
just
no,
it's
what-
there's a very good network. I mean, like a lot of people are
There's a
getting paid
chance.
off.
There's a chance.
A lot of people are getting paid off. I'll be very
Well,
frank about the
that's what I
situation.
wanted to get into. That was because I believe fracking, as long as there is something there that money can be made off of, we're going to drill for it. There's nothing we can do to try and convince people not to. My concern is that how you said fracking has been going on for 100 years. From what my understanding was, it's because of, in Marcellus County, New York, there were people that realized that dynamite could be used to release the natural gas.
Right.
Because that's where the shale comes above ground. And they were able to infer that a lot of the chemical or the property rights, like the underground, when you say you own the soil of your land, but you
Right.
don't own,
The gas rights.
The mineral
you don't
Yes,
own what's
mineral
underneath
rights,
it.
right.
Is 100 years ago they were able to determine that this should be possible one day. So during the Great Depression,
They
they
bought 'em all
swindled
up.
a bunch of locals
Mhm.
in like a couple companies so that they owned all the mineral rights. And now that they have the technology to actually take advantage of it, it's causing issues because you have people out in Fayette that have lived on their property for 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
And are coming and going, you just can't drill right outside my property and go underneath me. and they go, actually,
we own
your
the
great
rights.
granddad sold the rights to
Right.
us for pennies on the dollar.
So people have been.
during the Great Depression.
That's
So we're not
that's
making
thinking
money.
ahead, so who cares?
As PA, we're not making money off of
no.
this.
Well, some people
No.
are.
But Texas
Not
is.
everybody sold
Okay,
their mineral
so
rights.
this is my other
No,
point earlier.
but a lot.
There's landowners that become millionaires overnight.
Some people do, and it usually happens in economically
A couple.
depressed
I've had it.
areas.
Oh,
And
every
these
location
farmers,
I've been on.
they need the money. They need if
Yeah.
somebody comes knocking on your
A couple
door
might. A
and is
couple
going to
would-
give you a whole bunch of money, you're not going to say
You
no.
just get a signing bonus.
I mean, some people
Whether
that
they
play the
frack it or
lottery
not.
hit.
but you don't
I
get a
know.
fair shake of the hand.
No.
These people aren't unionized. They're not
if you
organized.
didn't, you can hire a lawyer to negotiate with these
You
people.
could.
You can.
But these people are
It
literally
gets
dirt
ugly.
poor.
No-
I mean, like
no.
literally dirt poor. Some of the farmers are.
I've
out
heard
there that
stories
have
of them
land.
actually showing
You don't
up
think a
with
lawyer
guns.
would take this and just say you're going to pay me this much?
And
at the
some
end?
people do, but the industry pays better at the end of the
And
day.
some people just don't want the
So-
noise outside their house. Some people own their land, they
Right.
love their house, and
It-
they don't want a
it becomes
group of
depreciated.
drillers
Yeah.
standing outside of their
the
porch,
dirt and everything,
making
like
the
that.
noise 24/7. They just don't want to deal with it.
Most of the
And if you
drilling's
are
not going
downwind,
on
and if
close
you're-
enough to
but
home.
some-
If you're
It's
downwind
not-
from a drill
some
plant,
is.
then it's like a
Yeah,
real problem.
the traffic.
And
It's
I've
an
seen-
issue.
But being there, trust me, these companies bend over backwards to try to do anything to make the people that live around
Right.
there happy.
Well, they
we
have
would
to. That's their
drive
jo-
the whole way around a county just to avoid one street that somebody was complaining
No,
on.
they pay people to negotiate. There are specific law majors that negotiate these deals that have to break the news to a local farmer that, hey, we're going to go drill right over there. He goes, no, you're not fucking doing
It's
that.
just easy to do.
Well, if they
They're
don't agree
obviously
to it, they
being
can't
take-
do it.
Yo, yes, they can't. Yes,
Unless
they
they
can.
sold the mineral rights.
They
at one
go,
point.
which that's
If you own
usually.
But that
Most
means your
people don't
ancestors
know.
were dummies. That's all there
Okay,
is
it
to that.
does. It does, but I don't think when it was purchased
Who's
on
dummies,
pennies
Craig?
and the dollars during the Great Depression,
Whoever sold the mineral
these
rights
people
for
that were trying to feed their kin,
Yeah.
I don't believe they were thinking, oh, in 50 years, once this Texas company develops the
It's-
technology to blow up,
think ahead.
They weren't dummies,
investment.
Craig.
They
They
were-
were
they were
backed into a
hustled.
corner,
They were
and they had
hustled.
no other
they were.
decision to make.
If you want to
You
say,
could just say no.
if you want to
you
say
either
screw
starve
them,
to death or
Yeah.
you don't starve to death.
They were farmers. They were making food. Why would they starve to
not
death?
the-
Not in the Great
no,
Depression. Nobody had
Great Depression.
loans. Nobody could afford to buy the seeds to put in the ground to grow crops. I mean, like
That's
it
why we
was a
shouldn't live
literal
on a-
depression.
That's why you shouldn't live in debt.
okay, so like, if your mentality wants to be just screw
So we
those
shouldn't
people,
have,
they're
we shouldn't have
dummies,
had a
that's
housing
fine.
bubble either.
But
you
that's
know.
just, you got to be upfront with that's what you're saying.
is
You're
how it
making it
happens.
sound like
It wasn't
the hustler
personal
was
debt
some genius.
that caused the Great Depression, Craig. Okay, it's just like it wasn't personal debt that caused the Great Recession and the housing bubble.
If you lived a
These were-
fully cash lifestyle,
No, these were
you
greedy
would have
banks.
money whenever
These were greedy
the-
banks that took advantage
went
of the
down.
people, and it's just what the gas companies are doing now. They're just greedy and they're taking advantage of people, and it's terrible. I've been out there. I've literally talked to farmers that have been paid off by the industry to have them truck in water every day because the water they were getting before the fracking happened is so bad that they can't drink it anymore. They can't even shower with it anymore. They have to have the water buffaloes come in.
But I thought it
And they're
makes
paid
everything
off, and they
bigger.
sign pieces of paper to say that they won't sue the company, and that's how these people operate. I mean, it's that black and white, and it's a giant PR cover-up scheme in the meantime.
how
you
do
know?
how do we benefit from this, Craig?
A lot of money, lots of money. Same way
Who
Saudi
gets
Arabia.
it? Who gets it though? I don't know.
Well,
like
people who work in the
ha-
industry, those
yeah,
jobs
the
are available
manual
for all
labor
of us.
jobs, which they're going to be there no matter
So
what.
anybody
but,
in our
yeah.
society right now can go.
You're not
get that
getting
kind
rich
of
off
job.
manual labor jobs. There's not a
You
whole lot of
can
room
you can
for
live
growth.
affluent. You might not be.
Yeah.
You can become a millionaire relatively quickly just being a hand on a
What?
frac location.
Here's
I
my
don't know about that.
Here's my
I mean,
response
You
to
can make
the-
a nice pay for yourself.
If you lived cheap, you don't have to pay for where you live. They
with
put
kids,
you up in a
with
place.
kids and a wife. Or
Okay,
you talking
see,
to
that's-
single?
If you have
Exactly.
a family, it's a different situation.
Exactly.
Well, how most people
So my
you assume
take a little
if
bit.
you're taking a
Take a
fracking
little.
job aren't doing.
But still a six-figure income.
it's more than you can make anywhere else not going to college.
No college.
Right.
Sure.
They pay for where you live.
It's just like
They
mining.
pay for your food while you're out
It's-
there.
There's a lot of parallels here.
They
Right.
drive you everywhere. Once you move up, they give you a company truck.
Oh,
You
they
get
treat
the-
you like
yeah.
royalty.
You can literally live for nothing
Yeah.
while making crazy money.
You can.
You could become a millionaire.
You
in
can.
no
It's,
time.
but that's not. That's
But
a
who-
solitary life. That's not.
Here's my thing too.
But
is
the
who's-
opportunity's there.
Craig, who's getting the jobs? Like, let's take it back to Pennsylvania for a minute. How many Texas and North Dakota license plates do you see?
Those are the
Yeah.
companies.
Those
that-
are the-
bring
that's where
their
the
people
companies
up.
insure their cars out.
And that's
and
also
they're driving company vehicles.
That's also where
all
the
that
workers
They
are
bring their
coming from,
people
too.
up.
No, they don't always bring their people.
Then how come there's hotels cropping up left and right? I mean, you got to live
Well,
somewhere.
because
right?
if they live in California, PA, or or
Mhm.
CalFrac, Say they're living by the cow frack facility. I believe that
I'm just
is.
saying, if people can drive. I mean,
Well, no,
if
anywhere
it's
over.
regional,
If it's over an hour, they put you in a hotel. If I was over an hour away from the yard,
Yeah.
they put me in a hotel. That's why brand new hotels pop up all over the place.
I'm just saying, then it's the corporations that make.
I worked with a
the
guy who
hotels.
lived 10 minutes from the hotel.
It's
and
not-
they gave him a hotel.
It's not local people that are making the money from the hotel. I mean, these are these are businesses that
Why
are
a
publicly traded.
local hotel could go and bid the
They could.
rooms cheaper
If
than
there's
the
enough,
bigger guys.
if there's enough,
The companies
local-
are going to pay whoever's
If there's enough
cheapest.
local money to do that, Craig, they will. But if the economy doesn't yield that kind of supply, then they're
I personally
they're not going to be
only
able to
stayed in
benefit from the
Hyatt
demand.
hotels, so I personally don't have the experience. But I've heard from coworkers of them staying at a local motel in the area
Yeah,
because they were on the only location for a
diners.
couple weeks.
I mean,
And they make some money from
It's
it.
impossible to say there's no economic ripple effect. I mean,
When
like
we
the
would
diners of
the
the
store,
world,
there's a
the
small
grocery stores, things like that. But there's an infrastructure price to pay here.
in Greene
Craig.
County. There was a corner store right down the street from our location. We were there for months. That family would wake up early. The entire family show up just to make us food and help us out at like 5 o'clock in the morning. They didn't open until like 10, just because that's how much money we would come in there every day and spend. All the employees would come in and we'd buy all of our
Is
food.
it
right
is
there
it
in the
not boom or
locals.
bust though?
You just got to be smart. Don't spend it all when it comes. It pumps in a
you're
little
preaching
bit
to the gas people, and now you're talking to the local people. It's like they get their little sliver of pie,
And then they
hide
blow
it
it.
away.
Why would you blow it? That's your own fault. I don't feel bad for people like that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's America, capitalism. I understand that
Like,
argument.
You get the opportunity, just don't blow it.
But here's my other thing, though, is like I'll use North Dakota as the example here. And I read about this when it was first happening, and you get these man camps that pop up. You get all these people got to go out into the middle of nowhere, like especially in North Dakota where there's just like nothing.
I like reading about man camps.
Yes, and
It's just where the company.
there's no
sets up
infrastructure
the-
though. I mean, like there's not enough capacity in the schools. The sewers are overfilling. So don't you think that the companies have an obligation to society to at least improve the infrastructure if they're going to go
People's
in?
champ of public transportation.
I mean,
found a way
no.
to work it in there.
You need
I don't think so.
so you're just going to go
Somehow
into a place, decimate it, like literally fill it
Uh-oh.
with shit,
He's
and then leave.
punches
And then
are coming
and then
in.
not care.
Punches
and then,
oh God.
and then make $8.7 billion a year in profits and just fucking blow
I
your
haven't
dick
seen
in
any
front
of
of
this.
people.
I don't even-
I just haven't seen any of this.
I don't know
yet.
what
Of
he's
course you
talking
haven't,
about
Craig.
either.
Because
but
you
he's
live
throwing,
in your own little conservative bubble over there,
Oh,
and you
now we
don't
go.
read the
I got
articles
bubble to
that
gloves
show
are
this
off.
kind of stuff.
He's throwing punches in a
have the
slurry.
blinders on.
I wanna
mean,
see
a
the
lot
pictures.
Of, a lot of people.
We have cameras.
I'll show
They
you
can-
the
I'll
pictures.
show
The
them
articles
pictures.
exist. It's not a matter of proof, Craig.
my-
It's a matter of whether or
Check.
not you're going to believe it.
I
Okay?
haven't seen it. If you show me evidence, I
I'll
mean,
show you evidence.
you show
but
me
you still
shit.
ha- then you
Yeah.
have to
What about the
admit to it.
fire
You
water?
can show me
Craig?
this North
What
Dakota
about the
shit.
water
I
you
will.
light
I'll
on
show you-
fire?
I'll show you the North Dakota
What
articles.
about the water you light on fire, Craig?
The water and that
Yeah.
it doesn't light on fire.
Yes. See, you tried to correct this earlier. The correction to that story is not that it doesn't light on fire, because it does. It's that it has been lighting on fire before they started fracking. Like, where the well is positioned is in a place that there is a gas getting into the water that allows it to be lit on fire. It wasn't...
They went out and asked the guy to show them, and it didn't light.
They
They
have
turned it on.
videos of
Another
it.
misconception of the industry.
But in his garage, he had jugs of the contaminated water. When they went in and they went right up with cameras and asked.
I
him
know.
to show it.
You can
he couldn't
you can
show
watch
it.
the YouTube video.
He couldn't show
of
it.
him lighting...
No, that was for the Gaslamp video. You got to watch the Frack Nation. I think it's called Frack Nation video, where the documentary that does a documentary on Gas Nation and like literally goes to the guy's house.
Someone paid
asked
for
him
by
to
the
do the
gas
same
companies to try and prove
They
that
go
it's not
to
harmful.
the guy's house.
Just to
that
be
was
clear,
in the other
when you're
video.
saying this, just
Craig,
to be
it
clear,
doesn't
that's what
matter.
you're saying,
It doesn't
right?
I don't know
matter.
who donated
Okay, this
to
is
it.
PR.
I'm assuming
This
it
is
was the
PR
fracking
versus
companies.
PR.
If
that
it was
paid
them,
for it.
fine.
Okay.
I don't
They
think...
go to the guy and ask him to prove it to their cameras, and he couldn't.
PR versus PR at
Like,
this point.
It
Craig.
is. You're
Like, I
talking.
don't-
It's a propaganda fight
propaganda
that I don't know
versus
how people can
propaganda.
trust one or the other.
Exactly. Like I'm not gonna. I'm gonna discount both sides
All I know is you should believe everything you see on YouTube.
and read on the internet.
Yeah, definitely.
Get out there yourself and see a frack location.
I've been to the frack locations before. I've been to the Allegheny
you can
National
see that it's
Forest.
like-
Is that an endorsement for frack? They're not pleasant-looking places. They're
I've
not
been
like I
there
want to go
before.
hang
I've-
out by a
Hold
frack
on.
spot.
I've personally photographed the flames coming out of the places before in the Allegheny National Forest,
I
which
hope
is supposed
it-
to be
yeah.
public lands. I mean, this is my whole compromise. I'm okay with fracking, just don't do it on public grounds.
Yeah.
Don't do it so an accident happens, and then the water.
And we should be
is
making the money. I
contaminated.
don't want this money going to Texas.
Right, exactly.
By
It should
big
be the
time
benefit
gas
of the municipality.
companies that already have the corporate infrastructure set up to be able to mobilize and go drill in other areas. Drilling in Alaska, that money should go to the Alaskan people.
Right. If you're gonna
drilling
drill
in
in
PA should be
Pennsylvania-
coming to us.
And this is how.
If we're going to do it, we shouldn't be letting them make the money in Texas and not paying income
and
tax on it.
Pennsylvania's
It's
current
just
governor ran on that ticket. Governor Wolf ran on. I'm going to tax the
Exactly.
mine," and
If
he
we're going
won.
to do this,
To talk about a mandate,
Jersey,
I mean,
I don't know if it's Jersey or Alaska, but somebody doesn't pay an income tax because that's
Alaska
the deal their
doesn't.
government made.
Alaska and Texas both don't pay income
Yeah,
tax.
that if we're going to do this, this had to be covered by the corporations that are abusing our lands.
And if they weren't
Is
so
that
conservative, they should actually be pissed off because of that. Because all the people that they have in the industry, they're not getting any of that money either. So
But there are a couple people that get manual labor, $100,000 a year. They can buy a nice house out in Irwin, out in
this is why
Mount
mining
Pleasant.
jobs were so sought
Yeah.
after back in the
Yeah,
day.
and
'cause
that's
you're making
definitely a
over
positive.
100 grand.
It-
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there shouldn't be good jobs out there, and that's where like liberals, like are getting a bad name when they try to fight against this because they automatically people like Craig call you anti-industry, anti-job making, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like that's not the case at all. It's just there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things, and I don't want to do it the wrong way where we're doing it on public lands and contaminating drinking water and causing long-term problems for future generations to handle. That is obviously the wrong way of doing it.
Similar
You're
to
allowed
our
to frack.
debt and Social Security, but you're all for that.
Hey,
Oh, whoa!
Just
Hold on.
throwing
I related it to pensions.
Illegal. Well, I mean, foul. Break them up. Greg,
Greg's
we're
a
not
referee.
talking
You can't-
about that.
You're
You
only
can't
worried
just
about the
switch
environment
subjects
for
when
the
you run
future.
out of arguments.
I'm just
for a
saying that you're
particular-
only worried about the future generations whenever it comes down to the environment.
I
Because
have the same
there's
argument.
money to be made there.
I have the same argument with the pensions. We sold the future generation down on the pensions too.
We're off the rails.
I'm a conservative on the pension thing. Okay.
Into the weeds has gone
We-
off the
we-
rails. Brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen. We don't
No
even know
one's
what we're
worried
talking
about the
it
next
anymore.
generation.
You should be, Craig. This
Yeah,
is exactly
honestly.
the problem
I'm worried
with
about my own.
It's not-
this
my
is
offspring,
exactly the
they
problem
will
with
be set.
conservative America is you don't think long term.
I'm worried about my
doctor-
own.
the
None of them
doctor-
ever do.
The
This is
doctor of
what-
democracy, though, just did bring up a very good. Do people, though? People like to say, I'm doing this for the kids. Everyone's doing it for the kids. How do you know if Craig wants to eliminate Social Security to help the kids? You want to do environmental regulations to help the kids. It's just an overplayed.
Right.
Very rarely do you get someone that admits the truth that do you really care?
It's all a
When you're
facade.
making an immediate political decision, do you really care? Are you thinking 3 generations down the line?
Right.
Or are you thinking, at this moment, this makes the most sense for me, and that's what I should do? And I think that's what most voters, and no, not many people will admit it, Craig. Thank you for being blunt, or Trump. And you're acknowledging
Trump.
that at the end of the
Being
day,
Trump.
being Trump.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, that is what the most voters think about. And you look at your day-to-day life.
Or at least they should think about it.
So that's why fracking has to happen, because in the short term, there will be people that get $100,000 a year jobs.
What you do. This is
for
what
manual labor.
I believe.
and that makes sense for them, and I'm happy for them that they're getting their pay.
Progressing
And
society
it'll help the local.
would take the issue that's being caused by fracking,
Which
and
is
they would
what's the issue?
they would solve it.
The environmental issue?
Whatever
The
issues
spilling
you guys
slurry
are
all
worried
into
about.
our drinking water, lakes, and
Why would
rivers
they
and
care
streams?
about that?
You fix that problem.
How do you fix it, though, without
Yeah, like you guys-
regulations and without
I mean, it's
putting
not
some
that
kind of
easy,
penalty on the
first of all.
business for...
Oh, they got
allowing it to happen.
regulations like crazy. Trust me, too many.
As they should. I
Do you not think there should be any regulations, Craig?
No, I'm all right with some regulation, but
Like what?
Yeah.
Like safety
Where's
regulations?
your regulation line? He
Well,
is
safety
the
regulations
breaker
for
of
sure.
the regulations.
I mean, because there's a difference between
That's-
regulations and then also enforcing the regulations. So, like, let's be clear here.
he
Like,
would sell his own mother if he stood to make a slight profit off of it. And don't I'd say it's not
I
true.
would.
Craig's
I
trying
Yes,
to
you
come up
would.
with a rebuttal.
Yes, you
I would not do it.
You would sell Brad, though.
Brad?
Yeah, the
Um,
brother that doesn't live with him.
Oh.
I wouldn't sell Brad.
You would
you
sell
thought about
Brad.
it, though.
You would
You thought
consider
about it.
selling Brad.
No, the
Nah.
point is, though, these companies are making
Kira,
long-term
maybe.
decisions.
I might sell
Oh,
Kira.
jeez. Hope you're not listening.
Call in. You'd probably have to pay to get rid of that.
Colin's a
kid.
business partner. He's got
Yeah,
value.
he does. Colin has his value.
He's earned his way into Craig's heart.
So
and
we make
mind.
him sit alone at the bar.
That was funny.
So, okay, time for closing arguments. I
Yeah.
think we've hashed out all the different angles. Which one you would like to start?
Who are you saying you, Greg? We're on radio.
What?
Who are you saying you?
I'm looking at you two asking which one wants to start. Who's
Oh,
showing
it's
some
a genuine
initiative on the
question.
closing? Take a couple minutes here and sum up why you are for or against fracking, or half and what complexion.
I think we should have to flip a coin for that. What do you think, Greg?
First one to
I'll
touch
just
their
do it.
nose.
The reason that we should be fracking is strictly money,
That's the initiative
go.
we need.
financial.
Strictly financial.
You got to give more than Craig.
That's all
That's
it
not
is.
even a
Bring
legitimate.
jobs.
I'm throwing out. Even if I agree,
It
I
doesn't
agree
take much
fracking is
more.
going to happen. But you've presented such a poor
It
argument. I
doesn't
can't give
take
you the
much
case.
more than that. What else do you want?
I mean, the economic argument is
There
a
has to
strong
be
one.
some level of accountability.
There already is. I think where we're at now, let it go, and let's just frack.
Just let it go.
And when we start getting
Let
two-headed
it
fish,
go.
let it go. When we start getting two-headed fish, what
That'd be
happens
cool.
then?
Well, just like
Okay, see,
mean-
no.
they'll probably get into the LGBT movement. I don't know.
The gay frogs that Alex Jones is always talking about. That
Yeah.
apparently they're putting chloride in the water to turn frogs
it'll
gay.
end up being a Democrat issue, and you guys will get votes out of it. They'll have frogs.
Well, we got the community back. LGBTQ, come back home. Come
Except
back
for-
home. Trump
except
just
for,
decided to punt that vote away.
except for the Queen, Bruce
I
Jenner
don't-
is running for
Bruce-
office as a Republican.
The
So
Queen.
you
Yeah,
might have lost.
In the
Queen.
reality show, Bruce Jenner runs for office. It's going to be great, and I'm sure a lot of people
Oh,
will
yeah.
watch it on
Oh, yeah.
entertainment.
We're gonna
But
get a lot of
I
that.
Kid Rock's
give
going to
two
be
shits
a
about
senator,
Bruce
too.
Jenner. Oh, I know. He's going to be running against Michael Moore.
And it's looking like he
It's
might
g-
win. That's what they're
It's
saying.
going to be
though.
a battle. It
People
is
are
going to be
saying.
a fun. It's going to be
The
one of those
locals.
ones that you can look forward to.
Can I have my final thought now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we
never-
need?
Does anybody really want to
what's-
hear it?
It's probably better
He's
than
just
Craig's
happy.
forward.
I
just
promise
saying-
there won't be any history involved with it.
No, I'm saying it's a
No mention of transportation.
Oh, that was going to be one of my points.
Yeah,
there.
I know. It needs to. It doesn't fit in this conversation.
Okay. But at the end of the day, I
Okay, go ahead. Work in transportation now.
I'm
I
trying
can
to-
just get in dark points.
it's not total transportation, but I understand the financial impact. And yeah, transportation industry gets a piece of this pie. Everybody does well when the economy moves. The retailers do well, the workers do well, the real estate market does well.
Mother Earth does well.
Mother Earth does not do well, Craig. But thank you for trying to interject that little bit of fake news into my final
Yeah.
thought.
Mother Nature enjoys.
Objection, Craig. Don't interrupt someone else's final thoughts.
Exactly. I
Settle
didn't,
down.
I didn't interrupt your final thoughts except for to
That's
almost
because it was
agree
4
with you.
seconds. Craig's final thoughts you could sum
Strictly
up in a
financial.
tweet.
Obviously, the financial impacts
Right.
are great. Okay. But this is the classic problem that America and capitalism always seem to run into. And yes, it becomes a little bit of a cliche when you go down the greed route, but there is a corporate responsibility here. And mergers and acquisitions in this industry in particular have just marginalized, where nobody's getting a fair shake of the hand anymore. Nobody's getting an
They're getting a
accurate
Trump shake of the hand.
piece of the pie. And we're trying to make up for it in free trade, and this is where I was going to bring in transportation. Is I think the first liquefied natural gas is leaving from Baltimore to go to Russia soon for a little current event action for you.
Hold on a
So
second. I gotta wake up the jury.
the more that we can start exporting it, the better. The better that the
All right,
financial comes
everybody
into
come
it.
Come back to the.
But at the same time, it's always conservatives don't think long term enough about this. If you guys were smart and you did it correctly, you can make this be a long-term stable financial industry for the next foreseeable future, make a lot of money on Wall Street from bankers and investors that want to also get a piece of that action, and not all just try to boom and bust the industry anymore. It doesn't have to be a boom or bust industry. Okay, just like coal didn't have to happen like that. Because what happens when it goes out overnight? The railroads shut down, and then all this other ripple effect throughout the economy happens. Transportation goes down, retail goes down, real estate market goes down, and it's
The
bad.
railroads- Nobody's.
It's
the
bad.
crowd gasped. The crowd- Wait, why? How is the railroad going down?
Yeah, what?
Because the railroads don't pull the coal anymore, so they don't make any
Is
money.
that, that's all they do. They pull coal. What?
That's where they make. They don't do passenger transportation
Okay.
anymore because it doesn't make them enough money. They make all their money off coal transportation. That's what made this whole region viable in the first
Do you
place.
think they transport like cars and stuff too? Maybe some other stuff.
I see cars at Ohio Pile a lot. They come like
The coal trains
They put,
are
like,
what make
20
the
on
most
a
money
train.
because it's heavy and it's dirty and you can't. It's harder to do in a truck and you're going over
trains
long
are still
distance
It's
because you
not-
got to get the you
That
got to
sounds
get
like
the
a
coal.
euphemism there.
You got to get the coal to the coasts, and the railroad's the most efficient means of transportation for it. So there's a whole other tirade I'd love to go into for train
Well, I do
versus
know
truck.
that the fracking
but-
actually helps that because they have to bring the sand in on trains.
the
Ooh.
They
train
come right
the
into
sand
the location
train.
on
they
train.
get a little
little
piece of the
acknowledged
action.
And then they
big
put 'em in
business
trucks.
in
It's
Western
mostly
PA
the
is
truck
sand
that
trade.
makes most of the money.
The
off
truck
of
driving
this,
industry.
but-
Just a real quick point here at the end.
oh jeez.
I would like to throw in here.
A final
Not
final thought.
A final
Yeah.
thought.
It's
See,
not
okay.
since
completely
this was
unrelated, but-
strictly financial
The
before.
rebuttal.
Yeah.
If you are somebody coming straight out of high school, you
right.
should really consider just getting a CDL
I can't argue with you.
because think about everything you have has come on a truck.
Right. I can't
Trucking
argue
is
with
the
you.
number one job to this country. They're the most important people
And there is a
to our
huge
daily life, to the way we live. The truck driver is the most important.
That's an
figure.
image problem, though, because the truck driver life is not glamorized in the media. Kids don't grow up at 7, 8
But
years
it's
old
the
and say, "I want to be a truck driver." They say they
they're
want to
the
be
backbone
doctors.
of our country.
They want to be. I agree, but we have an image problem
I mean,
you
there-
just
there's
gotta
a
start
whole-
in
teaching
our
the kids
country
that-
where people look down at trucking jobs as something that requires any manual labor.
And
They
all
look down
the
on it.
oil field does is bring truck jobs.
There's a whole
But
education
but
aspect
so
of
we're
this
gonna need to change
too.
the culture, though. If this is going to work, you have too
Oh,
many
yeah.
kids graduating
'Cause
high
I-
school and college with plans on going to be a lawyer,
Exactly.
a doctor, a salesman, somebody on Wall Street.
gotta teach
When in
kids-
all reality, the majority of jobs that we're creating and offering are manual labor, which
Don't
aren't.
spend all night or
they
all
aren't-
4 years in high school teaching them how to get into college.
Okay,
and teach them
that,
something else.
okay, there we go. That's getting into the weeds.
That's what
That's
we're
an
gonna
entirely different conversation.
for another episode.
Wrap it up here, Greg.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick a winner. I'm gonna go with, based off Craig's news that enlarged animals happen because of the fracking. We're gonna go ahead and go. Fracking is good because it enlarges your penis size. The local
All you gotta do
community
is
of
the-
Western Pennsylvania people
currently-
will become larger, and that's probably
As an aggregate,
I feel
as
like
an aggregate.
that'll work. That's enough to get most
Currently,
people's
just
support.
go to Loyalhanna River and dip your dick.
You
Go,
can.
just
You
take
can.
a quick dip.
15 minutes a day. 15
Skinny
minutes a day.
dipping.
Quick dip
15
in the
You'll
crib.
double your
Crib.
size by the end of a Trump presidency.
Jeez.
Okay, just like
Or your money, or your vote back.
But your hands will get
it
smaller.
could be next week.
Your hands will get smaller.
Yeah, it could be.
If you
next
do,
week.
yeah, you lose what you gain in dick size, you lose in hand size.
Right, exactly.
So I'm gonna give the win to
Struggle.
Craig. Also, just because Alec, that last thoughts, man, I just at a certain point I start staring at the corners of the
Ripple
wall.
effect.
And I have
Oh,
no
I'm trying to-
idea.
there's
And
a
then I
ripple
hear
effect.
you talk about trains, and I don't know how fracking in the train industry.
There's a ripple effect throughout the economy, and that was the point I was trying to make. Okay. You can't just boom or bust it because it's just more
I
than
think
them
America
booming
likes
or
boomer
busting.
bust though. I think
how we
boomer
roll.
bust sounds sexy.
That's how we roll.
Slow, steady growth. That's not a turn on. Boomer bust though. People just get pumped about
mean,
that.
We should have ended this episode.
I
with
mean,
a
who
country
wants
song.
who wants 6% growth for the next 20 years?
Nah, Joe.
Who wants-
Who
Who wants a generational change in our standard of living and actual true progress? Who wants that?
I mean, can you put that in a campaign slogan,
let's go
Alec?
more
'Cause I don't.
short-term.
People can't chant that,
Let's
but they
just-
can
I want-
easily go.
let's just
build
maximize
the
our
wall.
profits.
Build the wall.
Maximize
Build
the
the wall.
land.
Frack the land. 3 syllables, Alec. As soon as your slogan gets in with 3 syllables, people can't. It just sounds like a jumble.
I'm sorry for
You
making
gotta
sense.
keep it 2 or 3.
I'm sorry for making sense.
Yeah, you should be
That's-
more concerned about making dollars. Alec, you lose.
Yeah,
Craig
I
wins
lose.
the celebrity battle.
Why go to school? School's bad. Just go get your CDL and frack, and you'll be fine.
Oh, now we're gonna start talking about education.
Yeah.
That
Education's
maybe
a huge
next
component.
episode.
That it should be an
Maybe next
You need to-
episode.
because
It
education
should be-
plays into this
We
a
can do
lot.
it as the
It
next
does.
episode. Tune in for the next one.
Yeah, tune in for the next one. We're gonna start talking about education. I think. Can I enter the ring, Alec? You want to handle commentary on the next one, and I'll
Yeah.
fight Craig.
You'll do education against Craig on the next
Kill
one.
him.
I'll handle
Remember,
it.
there's a chance I might kill him live on the air.
Don't
And
forget to
that's
go
great for ratings.
to editorialreview.us and listen to all of our
Don't
episodes.
forget to Greg lost. To,
Write to us.
Greg the.
Oh, just grow up. Tomorrow it
You
all
lost.
changes. I lost one time.
The dumbest people in the bar.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for
Probably cheated.
listening.
Who
Thank
did
you
they
for
cheat?
listening.
Can you say it on his face?
They did not cheat.
Uh huh. No.